Oh man, how could you not be pumped up after an intro like that?
Oh yeah,
That was good.
that was
Yeah.
great. Oh yeah.
Welcome everyone to a very special Canadian or Canada Day episode here on Wavelength. We don't really have a title for this except for Canadian nostalgia, where we've got our three American friends here that we're going to hold hostage. Don't let them fool you; they're here against their will. As well as my extra special Canadian guest host, not I Killed Earl as per usual, but we got the one, the Neo, Mr. Anderson. How are you?
I'm well, and how are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I'm pretty pumped for this.
Yeah.
What is something you like as a Canadian to like? What kind of bombs do you like to drop on Americans sometimes about things we do up here and how things are done?
True things or things that I like to make them think are true.
True things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of the stuff that. So I mean, you know what? There are some things that I like to drop on people that are uncomfortable truths, but maybe let's leave that for another.
I'm just saying like
day.
casual trivia or.
Yeah, you know what I always used to love doing was basically like ripping off This Hour Has 22 Minutes and do like my own version of Talking to Americans, where you try and convince them that that in Canada we have a Parliament building and it looks just like yours except that it's made of ice, and with global warming it's become like a problem in that our national igloo is melting. And so I'd just like you to say into the microphone, congratulations, Canada, on protecting your national igloo.
Yeah, so to expand on that, there was a man by the name of Rick Mercer. He would go to America, much like these popular YouTube things you see now, with these guys asking like Gen Zers questions about America or geography or stuff like that. But he would ask Americans questions about Canada and say things, and it was.
Or like here's a good example. So like and I'll actually ask this to I Killed Earl. So I Killed Earl. What date do you think it was that we got electricity in all 7 provinces?
Can you still hear me? My camera froze.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
You can mute your camera if you want.
It'll pop back on eventually. I don't know it's being grumpy. I don't know what the deal is, but
don't evade the question. Just answer him.
Sorry, I was stalling.
Trying to avoid it.
What year everybody got electricity?
In all 7 provinces. Yeah, in all 7 provinces.
All 7 provinces.
Yeah.
1950.
I love the guess.
I
love the guess.
It's fun. That was exactly going to be my guess. So that was great. All my answer somehow. I don't know how you did that, but
yeah. There's
Justin,
more than 7 provinces.
Let me know the joke there.
Yeah, there's more than 7 provinces. And we had power way before the 1950s. In fact, I'm pretty sure that actual in-home electricity was simultaneous between Canada and America.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
they must have left part of Kentucky out.
We even have a highway named after Nikola Tesla. That's how close to the birth of electricity we are.
Wow.
So, yeah. One of my
How long after the invention of the telephone do you think the first Canadian phone call was made?
Same 1950s.
Well, just like in numbers of years.
I don't know.
So Alexander Graham Bell invents the telephone, right? He's obviously the first person on it. But then after that, how many years before a Canadian was on the telephone?
0.
10 years. Oh, no. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go with 10. I'm going 10. It's a nice round number.
What did you say, Joe?
I like it.
0.
Why do you say that?
I'm going to say that he called Canada.
Oh,
as he made the phone, he's like, first call, calling Canada.
Yeah,
You're close.
the phone was invented here, so the first phone call was from Canada.
I was half right.
Alexander Graham Bell was Canadian.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew Graham Bell was.
As still typing in the chat. It was the same year. It's like, it was the same day.
It was the same one.
Yeah, some of the things I like to share, and I do it to Earl often, is I'll send her pictures in our DMs of me at a KFC, ordering a KFC poutine or a McDonald's poutine.
Poutine.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's not talk about the stuff we watch on pornography. Okay, we're not. That's for another time, man. Another time.
Yeah, but like
Not
every
appropriate.
fast food chain that we have, that you guys have, you can get a poutine added here. Burger King, they have poutine. Oh yeah.
What the fuck is poutine? What is that?
What is it?
It's
of your
something that
poutine in
you
my
guys,
DM,
if you
I
haven't
would
tried
be
it, you
incredibly
should.
Okay.
Amazing.
French fries with like
Yeah.
traditional Thanksgiving style gravy on it, and cheese curds. Cheese curds is like the stuff you scrape off the bottom of the bucket after you've pulled out the real cheese.
Dude, that sounds good.
It's like
That's
a
not
really-
entirely accurate, but it's
Yeah,
fun to
it's
think
like
about
they're
it that
really
way.
like sort of, even when it's melted, it's still a little bit chewy kind of
Oh,
cheese.
making me
Yeah,
hungry.
so like that, so like all the fries kind of stick together, and you have to have more than just one at a time, kind of thing. And it's also covered in gravy. You eat it with like a fork, unless you
Well,
want
we
your
have
hand
fried
really
cheese curds.
I was gonna say it sounds very southern, actually. I
Mhm.
mean, just
It
anything
is.
you say gravy's
Right.
on top of it. I'm like, that's from the south
Yeah.
somewhere. I don't know why. But
All right.
Actually,
Very much.
yeah, it's actually
Well,
French. It's from Quebec.
Before we get into
No
some of
shit,
these
okay.
clips, I'd like to go around and introduce our victims tonight. How do you feel about that, Mr. Anderson?
Please.
All right. So immediately to the side of Mr. Anderson, we've got the all-knowing and everyone's favorite mutant. I killed Earl. She's waving behind her dysfunctional camera.
I am waving behind my dysfunctional camera. It's having a stroke. I don't know what happened to it.
Yep. Underneath me there, we've got Joe, the Kentucky atheist. If you don't know who he is, well, go over to his channel and subscribe ASAP. He's definitely must-see content. And to the next of the Kentucky atheists, we've got Brentley, the punk apostate. How are you tonight?
excellent. How we doing?
Pretty good. Very excited for this. And I want to make sure that we mention her because it's super duper important. And she's not on the stage, but she is backstage telling us all what to do and what to say. Is Jess, the How to Rule an Asteroid. This is her show. She assembled this. She's writing the words out of my mouth. She's the creator and the brain behind this. And it was a great idea, and I'm super excited to take you guys on a trip. You guys ready to start this trip?
Oh yeah.
All right. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with a little commercial. In fact, they're all technically commercials that we're going to show you, which means in the 90s, these things would have played like between in every commercial break. Like it would have been bored into our heads. Now, there's a huge chunk of what we call heritage minutes. I'm going to show you guys that after. But before we get into that, just as a warm up, I want to introduce you to this is a commercial for probably, I mean, Mr. Anderson, without giving away too much information, this might have been the biggest home pet craze in Canada in the 90s, right?
This was something that, like, I mean, if you're Canadian, then and you know, and you were alive in the 90s, then you know about this, right? Like, I mean, you know, every Thundercats episode had this sucker, you know, embedded in the middle of it. If you watched Inspector Gadget, like this was there, you know, that right? Like this is just
we all wanted
bread
one.
and butter.
We talked about them at school. Like when America was playing Pogs, we were dealing with this thing. So let's turn on the screen share here. And we'll go over to this stage there, just like that. All right, so I'm going to hit play. I hope I put on the audio. Let me know if you guys can hear it. All right, here we go. So this is our first clip of the day.
No, don't hear it.
You don't hear it?
I don't hear it. Do you guys hear it?
No.
Okay, so I must have forgot to put on the audio again. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay, here we go again. Ready?
All is quiet. Or is it? The North American house hippo is found throughout Canada and the eastern United States. House hippos are very timid creatures and are rarely seen, but they will defend their territory if provoked. They come out at night to search for food water, and materials for their nests. The favorite foods of the house hippo are chips, raisins, and the crumbs from peanut butter on toast. They build their nests in bedroom closets, using lost mittens, dryer lint, and bits of string. The nests have to be very soft and warm. House hippos sleep about 16 hours a day.
That looked really real, but you knew it couldn't be true, didn't you? That's why it's good to think about what you're watching on TV and ask questions, kind of like you just did.
Yeah, so
Wow.
oh, hang on a sec. How did I get over to his channel? There we go. Let's just turn that on. Yeah, so I'm gonna go right to Brentley. I have to, because you were inspecting this thing. You're like, what am I watching? So what do you think of that?
I thought it was real. Honestly, I was like, there's little tiny hippos in Canada. I didn't realize. I didn't even think that was a thing that could. No, what the fuck? That was really adorable. Actually, I really liked it swimming in the dog bowl. But it's just like like make sure to use skepticism kind of thing.
Actually,
awesome.
yeah. Wow. So
they were just like encourage kids to be skeptical, and the government made that.
That's fucking awesome. Good for them. Hell yeah. Yeah, we would never do that. That's nothing that would never happen in America. They'd say they'd have one doing the opposite. Make sure you believe all the stupid shit that comes out. Just make sure you believe everything. Like Jesus. That's wild.
Now the real irony though was the amount of people, especially kids, that missed that whole last 5 seconds of that clip.
Really?
Yes. So one of the reasons why this was such a big deal, at least in my school, was because everyone was like, no, they're real. And everyone's like, no, they're not. That's the whole point of the commercial.
That's sort of the whole Wouldn't it just like stop early for some people? Like they just Thundercats just busts right in halfway through the Jeez, okay. Interesting.
What did you think, Joe? Do you want a house hippo for your house?
I mean, I want one, but I can imagine that that those aren't available in Kentucky.
They're super cute.
Yeah, and if you remember too, this was like the 90s, like early 90s. So that the special effects in that were.
I was about to say that's pretty good special effects for computer generated whatever's for the 90s. Pretty bang on.
Yeah,
Really?
when Brentley saw the hippo in the bottle and then the bowl of water, his face just
in the bowl. Yeah, the bowl of water is super cute.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, I never got the whole. I must be a little bit older than you, Justin, because I was already in university when that came out. But like, I still saw it because I mean, who doesn't love Thundercats, right? But yeah, I just remember like thinking it was an absolutely adorable commercial and just loving it every time I saw it. But like, none of my friends were like, "No, house hippos are real," because I mean, like, I was 19. So
no, I was
okay.
Yeah, in the 90s, I was still in high school. So yeah, it was like 96, 97 when I graduated. So it was definitely like a bus ride to school type of scenario.
Well, did you see that commercial came out in 99? That's what I saw. I was like,
was it?
I thought. Well, that's what it said. But if you remember being in like,
I seem to recall having many conversations.
I was younger than that, but if it's 99, then that's how old.
Then again, a Canadian teenagers, we were high all the time too. So I mean,
yeah, I know. I've seen Trailer Park Boys. I know how it goes.
Yeah. That's a documentary.
No,
I
remember being earlier than that, right? But like, I remember being in like junior high school. But none of the kids in my school were like, "Oh, house hippos are real," but we all loved we loved the spot. But
you know what? Maybe this is one of those memories that just are fabricated in my head. But I swear, I've had conversations with people that were like, "Those things are for real," and I was just like, "No, they're not." But then again, we've had like I said,
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if you had those conversations as an adult, because like I've had conversations as an adult, like recently, with like people who believe the earth is flat.
Right. Fair enough.
Yeah. And there's
like,
nothing.
People and dinosaurs like lived together, and people rode around on dinosaurs. So like, house hippos on the grand scheme of things, like in terms of like the people who are credulous that I've interacted with recently, like I could easily see some grown ass men like thinking house hippos are real. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Man,
there's nothing impossible about it, right? Like they're just a small hippo. Like that's perfectly reasonable.
Right.
Like that could happen, right?
I mean,
People
we've
think
got
moths are
chihuahuas.
just
Yeah, exactly.
people think moths are just house hippos that found coats.
All right, well, let's get on to the heritage minutes then. So I've gone ahead and I've set these up in a way that I'm familiar with, in a deep six-ish style presentation, which just makes it fun because you guys can take your hints from these thumbnails, and I'll let our American guests decide which one we're going to watch first.
I know which one's my favorite.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'll tell you later.
I already know which one it is. I think. Yeah, and maybe for the wrong reasons even too, if I think about it. But let's Earl, I'm gonna let you pick closer to last. So let's just start at the bottom with Joe. Joe, why don't you go ahead and pick the first Canadian Heritage Minute? So these 60-second clips were shown constantly in between TV shows in the 90s, and they're still made today. So we're almost 25 years later, and the government of Canada is still making these. Anyways, go ahead and which one you want to check out?
Let's go with Canada Man.
All right. Checking out Canada Man.
Oh, yeah.
And he can lift anything. Anything at all. He's that strong.
Joe Schuster, will you stop it or you'll miss your train? Now help me find number 5.
Strong, but by day he's a mild-mannered reporter. Glasses, a secret identity.
Honestly, you Canadian kids.
He'd be in this cape.
A what?
A cape. Wearing these blue tights.
A hero in tights, really. Here it is.
Listen, Lois, this guy is faster than anything, I swear.
If you're not fast, you're going to miss your train.
That's it. A bullet. He's faster. No, he's faster than a speeding bullet.
Come on, get on it. No one's going to read a comic strip about a strong man in tights, Joe. It'll never fly.
Fly, no. But he can leap over tall buildings. Oh, wow, yeah.
See what your cousin Frank says in Toronto.
Wait, Lois. I've got something for you. Take it. It's a gift. You never know. It might be worth something someday. Is he great or what?
Yeah, so my American friends, how does it feel to find out that America's hero is Canadian?
What? Superman is?
You knew he was an alien. You just didn't know he was an illegal alien.
Right. I mean, he'd be one of the ones that would be accepted in America because, the complexion. But yeah, interesting. Okay. I did not know that. That's fascinating.
Who are we claiming invented Superman here? Because there is some controversy on this.
Well, technically, the artist who drew Superman's name is Joel Schuster, who was born in Canada, but Superman was created in America, and the writer of the Superman comics was also an American. So it's technically a group effort. But in a Canadian Heritage Minute, we're not telling you that part.
Oh.
I see. That's wild. Because I was going to say, because isn't it red, white, and blue? Isn't that what? Well, no, I guess it's just red and blue.
White, it's just red and blue.
Yeah,
I mean, it shows that it's just the drawing. It's not saying that Canada invented Superman. It's just the drawing of Superman. So that's fair.
Well, based on that short too, you would determine that Joel Schuster had the basic characteristics of the idea of Superman as well. I don't know how accurate that is necessarily, but
yeah.
Interesting.
The part in that I think is the most interesting, however, is how the Superman that we all know flies. But you'll notice that in that short, Joel Schuster says, no, he can't fly, but he can leap over tall buildings. And I'm pretty sure that the original comics of Superman never had him actually flying. He could just jump really far.
Just jumped like he Hulk jumped, and that was it.
Yeah.
That's the thing I thought was the most interesting is that the person he was talking to's name was Lois.
Right. Yeah, because they see you got that name. Like, I might use that. I might use your name later. That's wild.
What did you think, Earl?
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out my camera. Just keep talking. I'll get there.
That's what I think. I think my camera's broken.
Jesus.
Faster than a speeding bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
It's my kryptonite.
Yeah. They used to drill that fact into our head in history class. That, like, my history teacher would actually teach us that all about Joel Schuster, and the fact that he created Superman. But yeah, I think Joe's right. There's definitely there's still some American claim to him, but it would not have completely
Same
happened.
thing. Yeah, same thing. Even with Alexander Graham Bell, for example, actually moved to America and was living in America. I think when he invented the telephone, but born in Canada, right? So a lot of Canadian heritage minutes are about sort of claiming people who have a connection to Canada and did great things, and and
there's also going to be some here too that
accomplishments, right?
Yeah, you're right, Mr. Anderson. There's going to be lots of these heritage minutes actually that are tied to America in one way or another.
Because we're super awesome. I don't know if you know, but we're like the coolest.
You're roughly, I think
kidding.
you're
That's a joke.
roughly 10 times our size. You understand? So
what? Really?
Population wise, yeah.
Population wise.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I was like, what the fuck? No, you're not. I've seen maps, dude. Okay.
No. Canada's landmass is bigger than yours, but
right.
in terms of population, right? America is about 10 times the size of Canada, right? So
wow.
I mean, when it comes to economic power and global relevance and stuff like that, obviously, it's kind of we are to America what New Zealand is to Australia. It's it's there. It's also there, but it's not, we're not America. America is, a global superpower, and we're north of that.
We're the attic where they keep the old weapons.
America Junior.
Yeah.
The lobby.
Meanwhile, 90% of Canada's population lives within an hour and a half of America's border.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
In fact, what is it 30 or 40% of the Canadian population lives in what they call the Golden Triangle, which is a triangle that kind of the Great Lakes, and there's part of Canada that dips down below kind of the main line that separates Canada and the US.
Yeah, I live in that part of Canada. Yeah. I am technically further south where I am than the most northern point of California.
Wow. Yeah. Do planes disappear in there and stuff? Or is it
it's not that kind of triangle.
Well, that's what.
But they do also. But
okay.
Who invited you? You're amazing.
We have
so a very large portion of our population, something like 30 or 40%, I think it is. You'd have to look it up. I'm sure you know what, Jess will probably look it up for us, and it'll pop up in our chat exactly.
Oh, there you go.
There's this region in sort of southern Ontario that a very large portion of the population lives, and technically it's actually south of the most northern part of California, and then other people like me and lots of other people are in other parts of the country, which matter too, but very little of the population lives in the northern, say 50% of the country, if you were to draw a line.
Huh. Wow, that's wild. Holy shit.
Brentley, with your enthusiasm, would you please pick the next one to watch?
All right, I think I'll go with The Stroke, the top left. Right? Isn't that what when you have a stroke, you smell burnt? I don't know. The burnt toast. What is it? What happens when your brain messes up and then you smell burnt? What's your brain mess up? Is that?
Let's just watch the short. I think.
Okay. Sorry.
So, toast is burning.
Toast is not.
Every time she has a seizure, she smells something burning. Now, if we can provoke that smell by probing the surface of the brain, we'll find the source of the seizures. Mrs. Gold, do you feel anything?
I can see the most wonderful lights.
And now what do you feel?
Did you pour cold water on my hand, Dr. Penfield?
Now what? What is it, Mrs. Gold?
Burnt toast. Dr. Penfield, I can smell burnt toast. Dr. Wilder Penfield. He cured my seizures and hundreds more. They say he drew the roadmap of the human brain. We just called him The greatest Canadian alive.
Every Heritage Minute ends that way. They're always the greatest Canadian alive. Just saying.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so Brentley, you pretty much called it right on. But did you know that it was a Canadian that mapped the brain and fixed that issue?
No, that's awesome. No, I had no idea, and I didn't know that's what it would look like either. That was jarring.
Yeah, well, so that's actually, that one is my favorite one.
I knew it.
Like, so the cool thing is, like, that one, not sort of Canadian, that's definitely Canadian, right? Happened in Montreal, which is in Canada. Guy was Canadian, patient was Canadian. And importantly, it was not a stroke. That's something that a lot of people get wrong, but Canadians, we never get this wrong because we had our heritage minutes and we knew that it was an epileptic seizure, right?
Seizure.
And the reason why this mattered, right? And the reason they did that is, so she was experiencing seizures. And so the way that epilepsy works is that there's these kind of like brainstorms, I think they almost call them. I can't remember. Like, I didn't study for this stream. Okay. But this region of your brain starts like firing off, and the signals like cascade across the brain, and they make you spasm. Like, literally, spastic is not a derogatory term. Like, they make you spasm, right?
Right.
And they're bad. You don't want them to happen. And so what they needed to do was find that region of her brain that was the origin of these signals that are cascading across her brain and causing these spasms, right? And they knew that right before she had a seizure, she smelled burnt toast, which means that the region of her brain that was causing her seizures was the same region that was responsible for the smell of burnt toast. So when they found that region and then they burned it out, right? And it stopped her seizures because that region that was throwing all the electrical signals was destroyed, right? And the rest of her brain was intact. And so, like, that's how that worked, right? And of course, along the way, they poked, they sent electrical impulses into lots of other regions of the brain, and they figured out, this is the region that's responsible for, for this and that and all those sorts of things. And it's a big deal.
Huh. That's fascinating. Holy shit.
You knew that? How did you know that was going to be my favorite one, Justin?
Because we all very insensitively repeated that joke everywhere we went, especially when people at the bar were probably getting a little bit too inebriated or too high. We were always making the very bad joke insensitively of, I smell burnt toast. Or if you even actually smelt burnt toast, your brain instantly goes to that Heritage Minute. Like, if someone's burning some toast, I think every morning, probably
or
for
I'm
the
having
first
a
couple
seizure.
yeah. Well, every morning after like that Heritage Minute first came out or got seen, it was like you couldn't make toast without someone saying, "Oh, I smelled burnt toast." Like, yeah, it was that was what we were doing, was burnt toast. And I think it was also kind of Jess's as well, because when we were discussing doing this Canada Day show, she was pretty much like, "Yeah, we got to do I smell burnt toast."
You had to do that one.
Yeah, we had to do that one.
I think the American equivalent of these is like the Budweiser frogs. Like,
if you learn
we didn't
stuff
have like,
from them,
we're Americans. Like, we didn't have any of this stuff.
We should have. You know what we should have did? We should have did the Joe beer commercials. We would the Joe Bill commercials would have made the Budweiser frogs look silly, because those were the goosebumps. A commercial that gave you goosebumps. That's how good these things were. It's the reason why both Mr. Anderson and I have the "I am Canadian" exclamation point. It's actually a call to that. Maybe we'll end with it.
It's a call. Yeah, we should end with it.
Yeah.
We had a breakfast food commercial, but it compared your brain on drugs to scrambled eggs.
That's right.
Yeah, we had that too.
Yeah, that's kind of like what this is.
Yeah, we could go on for hours on comparisons. Ours would have been Astar, the brain on drugs. Remember Astar?
Oh, Astar, the
you
robot.
forgot about Astar. Astar's a robot. You can put her arm back on.
Robot from Planet Danger.
Yeah.
Astar?
Yeah.
Why would they do? Don't name him
Man,
that.
that was a great commercial.
Yeah.
I'm Astar, the robot. I can put my arm back on, but you can't. So play safe. And then the commercial ends. Astor's like doing like flips and stuff through like saw blades are like coming all over the place, and he's like just like parkouring through this like crazy place, and then like cuts his arm off, and then he's like and he just like boop, puts it back on, and then
and
that's
some more
I'm
crazy
Astor
special
robot.
effects too, like
It was
insane.
for the 80s. That was in the 80s. That was a great commercial. I got pumped up whenever I saw Astor parkouring through saw blades and stuff.
Yeah, they rebooted it. Did you know that?
No.
Full CG now. It looks terrible.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I love how they got to remind kids that their arms can be cut off. They're like, all right, remember, you're not invincible. I know you watch a lot of movies and stuff, but you're not invincible. Your arms do get cut off, and you can't put them back on. So kids are like, what? This is crazy.
That's why you got to have these Canadian heritage minutes and safety advisories and stuff.
That's why I don't have any arms right now. I know you haven't seen them, but
I Killed Earl. Why don't you go ahead and choose our next short to check out?
Let's see. I'll do the teddy bear.
All right.
So you'll be fighting in France tomorrow, huh? Well, good luck, Captain Caldwell. Oh, and you can be sure we'll take very good care of the bear. You are noting that it's the official mascot of the 2nd Canadian Infantry Brigade?
Yes, sir.
So long, Winnie. You be a good girl on God.
Why Winnie, sir?
From my hometown, Winnipeg.
Oh, Daddy, I just love Winnie. Couldn't we take him home with us?
Christopher Robin, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll write some stories about Winnie, and Mr. Shepherd here will draw some pictures.
Oh, Daddy, let's call him Winnie the Pooh.
Why Pooh, son?
I don't know, just Winnie the Pooh.
That's how a young Canadian soldier's bear inspired 4 volumes of stories and verse that still sell millions of copies around the world.
There you go. Winnie the Pooh. The actual bear for his namesake is Canadian.
I always wondered where the poo came from, and evidently it just
a
is
kid
random.
be like, poo,
Yeah,
that's funny.
with a really bad haircut.
Right. Notice that too. Okay, good.
There was like this really crass. I don't know if you remember this, Justin. There was like this thing, and it was like a parody of that, and it was Windy the Pooh.
No, I don't think I recall that.
It was this, and it was a parody of that Heritage Minute, but the bear's just like flatulating a lot, and they're like, why Pooh, and he's like, oh, I don't know, just Windy the Pooh, and then like the guy's like, oh bother.
Oh, that's awesome.
I wonder if they made a lot of parodies of these Heritage Minutes.
I don't know. I just remember that one. I'm always, every time you like say like, oh, this is the one we're gonna do, and I'm like, I have no idea what this is, and then like it's 3 times in a row I've been like, I know that one.
It's just like deep in there. Yeah.
Except for the toast one. The toast one, you knew what it was right away.
Well, the toast one I was excited for from the start. Yeah.
And I feel like I just read that the copyright or however that works,
right.
like just ran out, right? So now they're making like horror movies.
Yes.
Like,
the Winnie the Pooh is now public domain as of last year.
Thank you. Okay, public domain. That's like,
I thought that there was like some kind of a hullabaloo in Canada, at least, about copyright, and they changed it because Tolkien's copyright was about to run out, and so they like extended it.
I'm pretty sure Winnie the Pooh still entered into public domain no matter what changes were made, because as Brentley said, there's now Winnie the Pooh horror movies and slasher flicks.
Well, that's great. I mean, I don't love that copyright seems to be like forever less a day, right? That's the kind of the joke in legal circles. And of course,
even the town I live in, they put up all of these flower displays all around the town and to make them look like things. There's a Mickey Mouse just down on the corner because public domain.
Oh, right.
Mickey Mouse.
Steamboat Willie, not Mickey. Okay, but
sorry.
Well, I don't know if we have time for me to insert a piece of legal trivia in here.
Always.
So if you guys ever watch like a newer Disney movie, you'll notice that like right at the start, when they're doing like the Disney logo, there's like there's a Steamboat Willie, and then you see Steamboat Willie doopa and then it like kind of morphs into like Walt Disney, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason why they're doing that, and it's a legal reason, and that is that the copyright on Steamboat Willie has run out. But the copyright, but the trade, they're trying to establish it now as a trademark so that they can still prevent its use by incorporating it into the part of their kind of logo. That's why it's there, is to try and turn it into a logo so that they can still have copyright over Steamboat Willie.
That's so, he's like whistling, and it's at the very beginning. It's like, in that, and then that's so funny.
And so they just started doing that, and that's why. And so like nobody's challenged it yet, but they're setting that up as a defense.
Well, the horror movie hasn't come out yet, but I think when it does, they're going to be the ones to challenge it.
Yeah, that's
different, right? Because this has to do with like copyright versus trademark, and the horror movie thing just has to do with the expiry of copyright. That's because that has to do with Winnie the Pooh, right? This has to do with
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
I was always told, like,
don't kid with a pedantic lawyer.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
your comment about Tolkien and extending copyright. I was always told that it was Disney that was the one that was leading the charge in maintaining their copyrights, because they managed to avoid Mickey going public domain like half a dozen times, if I'm not mistaken.
Stuff can be two things, Justin.
Okay. Right.
I love that sentence. Stuff can be two things.
Absolutely.
What, man? What? Stuff.
Were any of you guys fans of Winnie the Pooh when you were kids?
Yeah, I was. Oh yeah.
I watched Winnie the Pooh.
I was Eeyore
2 nights ago, and I love it. It was.
Yeah, I understood.
Now you know his name comes from the city in Manitoba known as Winnipeg.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you guys know where Winnipeg? Have you heard of Winnipeg?
Yeah, I've heard the name. I couldn't point it to.
Could not point it out on a map, but I have heard it.
If you were to point at the middle of Canada, that's pretty much where it is.
Oh, got it. It's the Psalms of Canada.
Biggest town in Manitoba, the third biggest town in Manitoba, has no polar bears.
Your mic got real muffled.
Mine did?
Yeah, what was that?
Sounds like you ate it.
You got to enunciate. It's
the third biggest town in Manitoba doesn't have any polar bears.
No, I think it's got like more polar bears than people.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Manitoba has a lot.
That's terrifying. Have you seen the paws of those things? Are like dinner plates.
Oh yeah, like massive.
Seriously, their paws are this big.
God, that's terrible. You get swiped with that sucker.
Mr. Anderson, you're my co-host today, but you are still a guest. Why don't you pick the next one, and then Earl, if you could figure out a way to poll the audience for the last two, that would be awesome.
Let's do the ship exploding. I'm not sure even which one this is, and you guys can wait to see it. You know, the moment where I go like that.
So the Indians or the Chocolate Woman would be the next two. So let's do the ship exploding.
My God, look at that. Thank God she's a half a mile away. Huh? She's loaded, boys. You gotta get out of here. It's full of explosives.
Children, come on.
Don't get out of here. Vince!
We're not gonna school.
Please, get these children out of here. That ship is gonna blow. No!
Mr. Coleman.
Hurry! We gotta get these people out of here. That ship is gonna blow. Tree. What? People, get out of here. It's gonna blow up. Mission ship on fire. Stop train. Please, God. Answer. Coleman, there's no time. The train's coming towards Pier 6. I gotta warn him. Come on, Vince. Come on. There are 700 people aboard it. I've got to stop it. Come on. Acknowledge.
Halifax was devastated. 9,000 wounded, 2,000 dead, including Vince Coleman, dispatcher.
Yeah, so that was a huge military ship. I believe it was an American ship too. That was
French. No.
Armed to the teeth, exploded in the town of Halifax, and you heard 2,000 dead, 9,000 injured. But the man you saw sending out the Morse code managed to save an entire train full of people before they entered town.
Damn! Wow. Huh. How did he do that? Like, what exactly happened? So the train.
He told them to stop. He's like, yeah, don't come to Halifax anymore. Like, put the brakes on that train because the train was coming.
It was going to be going up next to the boat.
Well, it was coming into town, right? The whole town was pretty badly devastated, right? And it started that explosion started fires all over the place, and then the fires spread and killed more people, stuff like that. Right? It's 1917. They didn't have the best fire controlling building practices back then, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah, and the train did not continue into town, and so the people were not exploded.
They weren't exploded. No. Wow, that's awesome. Good for that dude. Jesus.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's been a lot of tragic situations in Canada, but that might be like the single most tragic event to happen on Canadian soil, perhaps. Would you say?
It's tough. That's tough. No, I wouldn't say that. No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. But it was bad, for sure.
Oh, I mean, like for a one-day toll that's what I'm trying to say. Like single one event.
I'm not sure. But maybe, on that in that way, very well, maybe.
I've seen a lot of YouTube videos about that.
Okay.
I know that Scary Interesting has done one, and I believe that Plainly Difficult, I think, did one. I think there's another one. Maybe Into the Shadows. But yeah, I've seen that one a lot.
Well, I didn't think there'd be a whole lot of people that were necessarily aware of it, which is why I thought it was worth showing. I know for me, it was always one that stuck in my head because, like, rather than run away, this guy just sat there. Like, I can save an entire train full of people if I can get this message out fast enough. And I'm not even sure if running would have helped them anyways because the town was pretty blown up.
Yeah, destroyed the town.
Yeah, that one was way back in there, and I was like, I don't recognize this. And then when he's like, come on, respond, I'm like, yeah, I remember that.
And it clicked.
Yeah.
That's wild.
All right, let's go put the screen back up. And did we get a poll? No, we didn't. That's okay.
No, I couldn't make one.
It's all good.
We got 3 people here. Let's do.
We got 2 left,
them, and the majority can rule.
Well, we just got 2 left. Let's just. It's cool. Just Brentley, do you want to see the chocolate woman or the Indians?
Yeah, I was gonna go with the chocolate woman.
All right.
I'm afraid the Indian one's going to be very depressing.
No, it's actually less depressing than the chocolate woman.
What? Oh, shit. You messed up my answer.
Which is great because we'll end on a softer note.
There you go. Okay. Yeah.
In June of 1813, Laura Secord overheard the secret plans of the American soldiers in occupation.
If you raise your sword against Fitzgibbon, Upper Canada will be broken.
How many men can we muster?
500 infantry, battery of artillery, my dragoons. Fitzgibbon can't manage more than 50 men, small bandit natives. Not a serious resistance if you're equal to the enterprise.
Pursue the advance 2 days hence.
Take me to Fitzgibbon. Laura Secord delivered her message to the Canadian troops. The Kahnawake Mohawks forced the surrender of 500 Yankee soldiers, and the American invasion was stopped.
American invasion?
You sneaky Americans.
That's kind of.
Did you know that you guys invaded us?
No. There was something that happened in 1812.
There was that whole thing in, what is that, Oregon? And there's that little island that's way over there that we fought about, and some other things. Yeah.
Have you heard of the War?
I'm trying to conquer you guys for a long time.
I was going to say that War of 1812. They like burned down the White House or some shit, right?
Right.
We burned down the White House.
You burned down my White House.
My White House.
You know why the White House is white, right? I'm not sure if this is canon, but this is what I was told at some point, and I remembered it, so I'm going to tell it to you anyways, as if it's true. You know why the White House is white, right?
White people. I don't know.
No, they had to whitewash it after we burned that sucker.
Oh.
Before that, it was some other color. I don't remember, red or something.
Red.
And then they had to paint it because it had fire damage.
Right. Wow. That's
made your White House white. I don't know if that's true, but I heard it at some point. Do you know if that's true, Justin?
I don't even think it's the same White House.
Also,
it's a good story. It kind of makes us feel better about being 10% of your size.
And I've also heard that
it
wasn't actually.
anyways.
Yeah, it was British soldiers that actually did it. But they were here with us.
They started in Canada. They're kind of Canadian.
Yeah.
Yeah. You all are teamed up, right?
Still are, colonized, really.
Yeah. So she heard some secret plans from Americans. She ran across the border. She ratted on you. And we busted your butts.
Stopped him at the border.
Now, why hasn't anyone asked the question?
Why isn't Canada going, build a wall, build a wall?
I know.
Get off.
Because
make Canada pay for it.
50% of your population in Florida is our old Canadians. That's why we don't want a wall. We need a place to retire.
Right. Yeah.
How come
that is true. Actually,
we call them halfbacks because they come from New York and they go all the way to Florida. They go, oh shit, it's too hot. And then they come back up to North Carolina. Yeah.
We call them snowbirds.
All congregate here, but yeah. Well,
but no one has asked me.
Snowbirds go somewhere else for this whole season, and then they come back.
Right.
Halfbacks go all the way. Like they start in New York, they go to live and retire in Florida, but then they decide it's too hot for them, and then they come back halfway.
But no one has bothered to ask me why I made a chocolate woman as the thumbnail.
Oh yeah, that's actually Why did you do that?
Because the Laura Secord name is synonymous in Canada
That's
now.
an excellent question.
It's like a premier chocolatier shop. You basically go to any shopping center; they all have a Laura Secord shop that sells chocolate.
That's right.
And that was the woman that
I did not.
Did you forget about that, Mr. Anderson?
Well, now that you mention it, I'm like, oh yeah, that. But I didn't connect that with the other thing.
I still want to know why they named the chocolate after her.
Yeah, I actually don't even know the answer to that. I mean, so this actually took place like I could 10-minute drive and I can go to the part where she crossed from where I am in the Niagara region here, and so we've got streets and high schools and all kinds of stuff named after her here. But Canada-wide, there is a chain of chocolate stores called Laura Secord.
Now, interestingly as well, so did you guys know that the good side of Niagara Falls is in Canada?
Yes.
The good. There's good and bad sides to them.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, there's a good Niagara Falls and there's a crap Niagara Falls, and we have the good one.
Oh shit! I haven't seen any of them, so I didn't. I don't. Wow.
The toilets on the Canadian side are not paid toilets, and we've got the better view.
Not paid toilets.
I don't go anywhere cold on purpose. So.
Okay. Oh,
unless Trump becomes president again.
Cold.
Unless Trump becomes president again, in which case, Justin, you
hey man, yeah, everyone.
I mean, you heard about the Supreme Court decision that came out today.
Which I actually haven't. I'm actually out of the loop. I forgot to look.
Oh,
it's wonderful.
Terrified.
Oh yeah. They said that the president does in fact have absolute immunity and is in fact above the law when it comes to official acts.
Oh wow,
that's great.
Yeah, they did. They said that.
Yeah, he's going to be a dictator. It's
well, if he wins. So I mean, if you were feeling like I don't know if I want to vote, Joe Biden seems old. Like you should probably vote.
Still vote. Yeah, it's just
or.
I'm not rendering
Joe
speechless
Biden
very
can
often.
use this to his advantage.
I mean, I think, or rather, I would hope that America's Constitution and all the other politicians and things involved could actually prevent Trump from being a true dictator. But
well, Justin, the problem is that the Constitution is interpreted by 9 people who just interpreted it. To say that there is no limit to what the argument was made in the U.S. Federal Court of Appeal that so are you telling me that if the president decided that he wanted to send SEAL Team 6 to kill his political opponents, that, if that was an official act, that he would be immune. And the Supreme Court did not specifically address that argument, but in substance, and I haven't read the decision, I've just heard reporting on it, but
yeah,
my understanding is, in substance, said, yeah, no, that would be, that would be presumptively,
The entire point of having this country was to get away from a monarch.
No, I'm aware.
Yeah.
I'm aware.
It's to get away from a fucking dictator. Like, why on earth would that makes no sense?
No, I'm aware of that. It's just that there are 9 other people who aren't.
What institution is it that dictators do away with first? Which one is it? Oh, it's the Supreme Court.
The Supreme, the judiciary. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think I would be the most concerned if I was able to vote, or if I was, able to participate. Would be Trump's ability to like stack that Supreme Court for the next 30 years.
Well, I was kind of like, I didn't think you would do this, because I'm like, you do that, and basically what you're telling, the current president is that he can have you assassinated.
Yes.
Right? For the good of the country.
You just said
signed your own death warrant. Like,
right.
come on, Biden. It's like you shot me. You said I could.
Right? It's got immunity.
Listening, Pappy?
I know a great place to put bodies.
Right.
We can make it happen.
All right, we got one more heritage minutes left to check out, and it is a little bit more of a lighter note, which is good.
Sorry for bringing down the vibe, guys.
No, it's okay.
No, it's fine. I'm
under normal circumstances, we're happy to go down that rabbit hole, but I'm trying to instead of derailing it, I'm trying to bring it back. But Jess, if you could find us
railing it. You're trying to rail. You're trying to rail the conversation.
Jess, if you could find us, because my name is Joe. I am Canadian commercials. I believe there's a bunch of them. If you could find us one of the good ones and link it to me, we'll end with that.
If possible.
The original would be original. But let's check out this last one. And actually, Joe touched on the topic ever so gently before we even went live.
That's how I do
it. I'm just letting this. Okay, here we go.
Touching.
So.
Sometimes that happens. Hang on, here we go.
Cascaragon idewe. Danon to Canadagon. Ente.
What's he saying, Father?
Commandant Cartier is saying this nation's name is Canada.
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 Beg pardon, sir, but the word he used, I think it really means those houses down there.
No, believe me, I know the word. It means nation, and Canada is its name.
Kion, Canada.
But I'm sure it means the houses, the village.
Woof.
So if you ever wondered where Canada got its name,
yeah, what is
it? Was a mistranslation. It means village. They were trying to say
some knucklehead was like, yeah, no, that I know what that means. He's not saying. He's saying this place is called Canada. Actually, that means village, and he's pointing to those houses over there. Shut up, you! I know what I'm talking about.
Quiet, peasant.
Canada. Canada means this country. It's called Canada. And he turned out to be right, but not in the way you think.
Right. That's really cool. Oh yeah.
It's more interesting than United States. I'll just say that.
Yeah, it's pretty boilerplate. I mean,
where I grew up is where the Lost Colony congregated and got lost. But there were 2 Native Americans that tried to. They actually went, I think, and talked to the Queen or something, and then came back. But their names were Wanchese and Manio, and that's 2 towns that Manio is where I went to high school. And Virginia Dare was the first baby born, and so there's Dare County is all of the Outer Banks and all of that kind of stuff. So there's a real rich history where I come from.
Actually, the name United States of America is interesting, but for a different and somewhat nerdy way. And that's because state actually is supposed to mean like a nation state, like a country. Right. And so there was supposed to be...
because they were treated like little teeny independents. Yeah.
They were supposed to be like, we are a bunch of countries, each independent, which are just going to be kind of having a loose association that is, and we're going to behave kind of as if we were one country, but not really.
It was very tribal.
And so and that's not a normal thing to do. It's a very weird thing to do. And so that's they deliberately conflated the word state and have now forevermore confused the heck out of everybody.
And that's why we have Roe v. Wade. That's why that became such a clusterfuck, was because the intentionality of the state as it was written back then was a whole different animal than it is now. So,
wow. So it's slightly more interesting than you give it credit for. It is screwed up for historical reasons, but not as funny as some guy just
not nearly
straight
as funny
up
being like, that's the village.
Yeah.
but sir. I like how they make that guy pleading with his.
That's not what they mean. Yeah. Afterwards, he's still. It doesn't mean that.
Isn't that like the earliest recorded moment of Dunning-Kruger? Isn't that what that really kind of is?
There you go. Right? Maybe that was done.
Yeah, the guy that was like, but it's the village. I feel like that's me. You don't want to make a stink, but it's like, but I think that's the thing.
Yeah. I'd just be like this.
You guys, stop it!
Right.
I speak that language, and you clearly don't.
That's awesome.
Oh my.
Yes.
Oh man. All right. So we've got one more special edition that we're going to do here because we brought it up. You've noticed our name tags are the "I am Canadian!" exclamation point. The reason we did that, and every Canadian in our chat right now knows exactly what it means. It's from one of our beer commercials. But before we get to that, I would like to know, Brentley, the punk apostate, what do you got going on this week, and where can people find you on the interwebs?
I do a show almost every day. Or I try to. I do like a stream where I just react to fundies being funny, just funny fundies, and I usually just make jokes and stuff and mess around. But yeah, you can check it out. It's on YouTube. You look up the Punk Apostate on YouTube or YouTube/@Punk Apostate. Yeah, check it out. It's a lot of fun. Just come in and hang out and comment. I try to respond to comments as we go through and just kind of like Mystery Science Theater, the thing, It's a lot of fun.
Amazing.
Streams are a lot of fun.
Joe, the Kentucky Atheist, that's your given name. You don't do anything on the YouTube, do you?
No. Actually, though, this week, everybody will be coming to you live from Eastern Kentucky. So our guests will be here. Azzo will be here.
Not everybody.
Earl will not be here.
Why are they going to be there?
Well, we had planned on going to the Ark Encounter protest, but the group that usually does that canceled, and I didn't have time to put that whole thing together myself. So we're going to do that next year, but still some people wanted to come and visit Kentucky, I guess, for some reason. So we're gonna hang out and do some Kentucky things.
All right. And Mr. Anderson, what do you got going on?
Yeah. Well, so I guess I might as well introduce myself to. I'm not sure if anybody knows who I am, but my name is Mr. Anderson, and I am mean to people on the internet. I do try to be very polite about it, though. I just tend to ask difficult questions and insist on the answers, and that shouldn't be a big surprise because I am a lawyer. And so my channel has a lot of stuff to do with debate. I do a lot of breakdowns of debate where I'll kind of analyze, the what was said and, how you can make that point better. And especially if there's a back and forth and a questioning going on, I'll talk about cross-examination technique and how you can kind of really sort of just adjust the way that you are doing things a little bit to sort of use some of the stuff that we use as lawyers and kind of meld it into and allow it to be used in regular conversations so that you can force like the reluctant and obstreperous to actually have to face the truth. And so I just have a whole channel just full of that sort of stuff. And also I post a bunch of my own debates so that you can see that the things that I'm telling you actually work in real life against a resisting opponent. So, I've taken down people like Kent Hovind and, Standing for Truth. And I think it was
the most recent video was you did a commentary on the U.S. debate, actually.
Yeah. I figured why not do one on. So I analyzed, Biden's responses to Trump's questions and talked about how you should be responding if you were going to be effective. And, I've looked at
Don't talk about your fucking golf camp.
Yeah, why would you do that?
He said I was running the country.
I actually hit the ball really far. Like, I do not care. I do not care about that.
That was a strange comment to make. I bet he can't even shoot the ball 400 yards. Like,
well, no, it pissed me off that Biden took the bait instead of saying like, sure, go work on your golf game. I was worried about running the fucking.
That would have been.
That would have been the snark that should have come out of his mouth, but instead he's like, I got mine down to a part,
I can't play golf. Your face can't play golf, you stupid dummy.
I was just fascinated by Trump thinking that was a dunk on Biden.
That was a dunk.
He can't even drive 400 yards. It's like,
right.
Nobody can drive at 400 yards. Like, what are you talking
about?
Whatever
whatever number he said, I don't know golf things.
Yeah, the dig that,
I know
that
Kentucky
he did do,
things,
that he had to carry his own golf clubs was.
Yeah, it was not the.
That
was not the.
But
donkey
still, it should have been. I was running.
Yeah, I kind of went through sort of part of the debate and talked about like this is how I would have responded. Now let's look at how Biden responded. Now let's break down kind of why my response would have been a better way to go, that kind of thing. But usually I focus more on like cross-examination stuff, but that sort of stuff's, sort of juicy as well. And I'll probably be, I think the next thing I've got coming out is another go around with some pre-suppers. Pre-suppers that's short for presuppositionalists. These are people who think that unless you believe in God, that you can't know anything. So they believe that like
I guarantee you this entire crowd knows exactly what that is.
Fair enough. Yeah. So yeah, just it's one of Darth Dawkins' lieutenants, and I take that guy out.
Nice.
He was like talking tough at the start, and he's like, yeah, let's see what you can, we'll see what you can do. And at the end, he's like right before the end, he was like, why don't we just call it a draw? Let's just call it a draw.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, no draw. Answer the question.
It's not how this stuff.
I'm like, no draw. Answer the question, right? And he's like, I'm not answering the question. Then somebody else, Darth Dawkins, his other lieutenant's like, I'll answer the question. The question is this, and I'm like, trap just snapped shut, and you're done. And then he was like, I didn't want this, and I was like, that's hilarious to me.
Seem to have a little something on your shoulder there.
That's all part of his style.
It's like potato chip or something. I don't know.
Mr. Anderson, he's the one angry Canadian we've got. So you
gotta hit him. I say I try to be very nice about it, but fundamentally, I'm
sorry.
I'm kind of a mean guy, right?
It's the brutal. Yeah.
So head over to Mr. Anderson's YouTube channel and check out his content. In the meantime, let's go ahead and top this off with a beer commercial, a Canadian beer commercial. Now, I want all of my American viewers and Earl and Brentley and the Kentucky Atheist Joe to think about your Budweiser frogs. Just remember that commercial and how maybe it was entertaining enough for you to go, you know what, a Bud sounds kind of good right now. But I challenge you to choose a Bud over this beer.
Hey, I'm not a lumberjack or a fur trader, and I don't live in an igloo or eat blubber or own a dog sled, and I don't know Jimmy, Sally, or Susie from Canada, although I'm certain they're really, really nice. I have a prime minister, not a president. I speak English and French, not American, and I pronounce it about, not a boot. I can proudly sew my country's flag on my backpack.
I believe in peacekeeping, not policing. Diversity, not assimilation. And that the beaver is a truly proud and noble animal. A tooth is a hat. A Chesterfield is a pouch. And it is pronounced Zed, not Z. Canada is the second largest landmass, the first nation of hockey, and the best part of North America. My name is Joe, and I am Canadian.
Thank you.
So does anybody here want a Molson Canadian now?
I do. I'm pumped. Hell yeah.
Chills.
Looks
man.
like the start of good nights everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, that's not even a 1990s thing, was it? Like that was.
Yeah,
way
I
better
think that
than
was
Clydesdales.
2000s or something. I'm not sure, but it certainly captured kind of the cultural consciousness, and people were saying, "I am Canadian." And the funny thing is, like, the slogan was actually just supposed to be "I am," period. But like "I am Canadian" kind of just caught on so much that like, because the beer is called Molson Canadian.
Well, religious people would freak out if you did just "I am." I'm just saying they would lose it. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's God. No, you can't do that.
That's
But-
Molson, man. It's trademarked. Sorry.
Exactly.
God should have probably like should have he should have
Needs a better
registered
lawyer.
that sucker. You needed a better lawyer. Yeah, exactly.
Too bad they didn't pick up on the part of "I am Joe."
Yeah.
Right.
Because
I don't know. I think they did it the way they did it, and it worked out for them. It was kind of it's like a big deal. It was a big deal up here, like I said. You know?
What's the beer? What is his name? Is this?
It's called Canadian.
Oh, it's just called Canadian. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's
I was
called
not
Molson
expecting-
Molson Canadian.
Oh,
Molson's the company that makes it, and the beer is a Canadian.
Nice. Oh, okay.
Just like you have Bud.
I would have walked into a bar and gone, I want I am Canadian.
Right, yeah, I was
you
saying,
would just
I
say,
wanna-
you say, give
I'm
me
a
a Canadian, right?
Yeah.
They'll know what you mean.
Right. Okay. The "I am a Canadian" one. I'm like, got it. I got you. Okay. Oh, that's wild.
I'm a
Good
tourist.
taste.
Yeah, that commercial. I don't even drink, and I don't even like beer, and yet that commercial still like just gives me goosebumps. Like it's great.
Resonates.
Yeah. And it became a thing. We got new ones every year. It was like, you seen the new Joe commercial yet? No, not yet. Yep.
That's awesome.
Kinda like
I
at
don't
the
know if
Super
it helps
Bowl, they
sell
always-
beer, but it sure helps sell Canada.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Like at the Super Bowl, Budweiser always had a massive commercial that they did, and it was always like the running.
Yeah, except in
thing.
Canada, it would be the Grey Cup.
Yeah.
You guys have a
Grey Cup.
Yeah, we have a
Bowl-ish
football
thing.
league. Did you know that?
No.
I did know that.
Yeah. It's
I
the
didn't-
Canadian
I don't
Football
believe
League. We have two teams called. Is it the Blue Bombers? We have two. No.
Yeah, Blue Bombers.
Yeah, we have two teams in the league, both called the Blue Bombers.
No, two Rough Riders.
Rough Riders. Thank you. Yeah, we got two teams.
There's only the Winnipeg is the only Blue Bombers.
We only have a handful of provinces, but apparently there wasn't enough names to go around, so two of them had to call themselves the Rough Riders. Instead of 4 downs, we do 3 downs. Yeah, and
The
yeah,
field
it's
is
a-
slightly
I
longer.
wonder if the NFL had all that shit copyrighted.
That's probably actually it's American.
Couldn't
like,
be.
So it's got.
Yeah, I don't know if you want me to get into this, but it couldn't be.
Well, I'm just a guess.
Yeah, no, you can't like, because copyright only applies to the expression, not the underlying idea, right? So, you know, that's
Well,
why
that
like
would still you couldn't do the thing though, then, right?
well, no, I mean you could still like we can still have a game that has, you know, downs and a
Right, but you
football.
can't call it certain things. You have to.
Okay, we could not call it American football, but we could call
Right, and so because of those certain aspects of the NFL that are part of the rules, the nomenclature that comes with the game, I'm sure that they have all of that shit locked up tight. So you guys have to go around your elbow to get to your ass and to call it.
Yeah, not well.
Well,
I mean,
certain things.
as a game designer, I can tell you that you cannot like copyright or trademark a game mechanic, but you can copyright or trademark the like string of mechanics together. So just by changing one rule, it's no longer American football, and that would be the end of that, basically.
Well, you don't need to call them. You can't.
Well,
Like, you don't
that's
need to
the
call them
difference in
downs. You can just call them
patents and
domes.
copyright.
Yeah, that's kind of
something.
Yeah.
When
and
you
Vince
guys play,
McMahon tried to buy
all the
CFL
players go,
one.
"Oh, sorry, sorry."
Vince
Like
McMahon tried to
90% of
buy
them.
the CFL, by the way, at one point. I don't know if you guys knew that. He
Did
tried
Vince
to
McMahon try and buy it?
Yeah, he tried to turn it into the XFL.
I remember the XFL. I always
Yeah.
thought the XFL would have been way more interesting if what they did is they had like each field had a different topography. So like maybe like a bowl-shaped field in one stadium and like maybe like rolling hills in another one, you know, something like that. Like that would be extreme in my mind because like you know you're getting tackled on like a a slanted
Floors that drop out
Like on a
into
half
the
pipe
quarterback.
or something.
like hazards in the field, right? Like
Lions
that's
popping.
extreme to me. Like flat and then it's
Like
like
a
XFL, I'm like,
snowboarding,
it's still flat. What's
track
extreme about this?
Cheese
Give 'em a
curds are
knife,
just
right?
rolling
But then-
past. And
Yeah.
One
But then
field
if you give
has
them
a
a knife, if you give everybody a knife, then that's just Aussie rules.
one field they play with 3 footballs simultaneously.
Yeah.
Man, that actually sounds really cool.
You can fashion anything you find on the field into a weapon. Like
Improvised weapons are allowed.
Yeah.
But only during the final 2 minutes of the quarter. Because then they
First
could,
quarter.
of the first quarter, yeah. Because then they could use it to draw out timeouts and try to get the other team to call timeouts because someone got decapitated.
Got to get a wealthy person to sponsor you.
I
and then
remember
they'll
we can only
drop you
copyright
into
these
the-
rules as a set. We can't copyright any individual one of them.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I got into
Oh,
that
no.
discussion online with someone one day when they were getting mad at me because I was trying to clone The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and the 4 core mechanics of that game. And they're like, you can't. Nintendo copyrighted all 4 of those mechanics. And it's like, no, I can. As long as I change the way they work ever so slightly, then it's fine. So I can still do freeze in time, right? Like you can't just copyright freeze in time. That wouldn't work. But
You just have to call it something else and sort of.
well, I would have to change the particle effect or how it looks a little bit or whatever. But any case,
That's why, like, if you guys have ever heard of, there was a game. I'm not sure if it's still popular, but it was popular relatively recently called Pal World.
Mhm.
It was Pokemon except with guns.
Yep.
And that the Pokemon are like kind of it's a little bit more explicitly slavery, right?
Oh, good. Yeah, that's what I was. I was
it's
hoping
actually
for that.
closer to Arc. Even if you play the game, it's way more Arc than Pokemon. But yeah, it still has a lot of Pokemon.
But like so all of the creatures are complete ripoffs of Pokemon. So like you're like that's Pikachu, and it's like it's similar to but legally distinct from Pikachu.
Yeah.
He's Pleek.
Okay. He's not an
Pikachu. Pleek. There's an L.
It's like
in
that's
there.
not an electric rat. That is an electric squirrel.
Yeah.
It's
You know?
static left.
My chinchilla.
And he has an
looks just like
M16.
Yeah.
That's what he was
that's
missing.
the
I
reason they
knew
can
it.
get away from it is because like the idea of an electric rat can't be copyrighted. Calling it Pikachu and making it exactly like Pikachu, that can and is. But like, and people were like Nintendo, are you gonna like do anything about this? And Nintendo had to put out a statement, and Nintendo was like, we are going to do everything to protect our copyright that we are legally allowed to do. Period. And that was all they said. And everybody's like, oh, tough talk. And I was like, but what that means is that they're telling you they're going to do nothing.
Yeah, that's a code for you. Well, I mean, isn't that like most of the games? Like when you go to the Google Play Store or whatever, right? And you like look through, it's all like Jumper Man or whatever, but it's fucking Mario, dude. It's just Mario, right?
Yeah.
And it's like he's got slightly different clothes, right? It's like these clearly just used the same setup or whatever and changed.
Actually, Nintendo has Mario's jump pattern copyrighted.
The off-brand. The off-brand.
Oh,
one.
that's why it was jumps weird. I knew it. God damn it.
Yeah, Mario's jump hasn't changed since 1985. It's the thing that made him popular, even though nobody realizes it, and that's why Mario's still popular today. We can all pick up a Mario game and instantly have that muscle memory from Super Mario 3, and because he feels exactly the same.
Huh,
Yeah.
That's fascinating. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Nintendo had to invent an entirely new way to code in order to invent the way Mario jumps, but we're not going to get too much into that because you got to pay $30,000 and take my course to learn that. Okay.
Hey, Sounds like a fun college course.
It is. Anyways, I want to thank all of our guests here: Brentley, Kentucky Atheist Joe, I Killed Earl, Mr. Anderson. Thank you for co-hosting this with me.
My pleasure.
Let's get together again. Let's not wait so long. You call me sometime. We'll do lunch. And of course,
I mean, this is like literally the nicest you have ever been to me.
Yeah, and it's I thought it was about time. You've earned it.
Yeah. No, it feels like forever since we last spoke.
It is literally been like the entirety of history since the last time we spoke. But the real all-star for today was Jess. How to Rule an Asteroid. This was her idea.
She's taking a bow backstage.
Yeah, she's backstage. She's she had the idea. I fanned the flames, and I told her what I needed from her in order to put it together. And the number one thing I wanted was a panel of amazing guests, and she totally nailed that.
And you've only got this.
Come on,
you're stuck with us weirdos. But yeah, that's
anytime. But yeah, and now Canada Day is over. I'm going to bed, and tomorrow we'll be looking forward to the 4th of July, America Day. Right?
That's right.
Yeah. Thursday.
That's right.
And Great Britain's having an election because that was weird timing.
Yeah, right.
Brits are such assholes.
Yeah, so anyone watching this in the future, make sure you hit like and put a comment down below. Share your Canadian nostalgia with other people. And as I
We've got the Skeptic coming on
the
13th. And I will have an episode of Black Pearl that will be coming on in the next weekish. So look out for that.
Yep, the Skeptic in meat
on my
form.
mind.
He's not coming as a floating circle. He's coming
Right.
with his skin suit on.
Neat, his skin suit. Yes.
If you've
I did
ever
ask
wondered-
that specific question.
Yeah. If you ever wondered,
And his answer was that he was coming in his meat suit.
More
Rainbow Giraffe.
Yes.
So that will be
Leaf be upon it.
11 a.m. July 13th. So thanks everybody. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Later. Thanks.